Now, retirement is a significant milestone in one's life, particularly in Nigeria. It is a crucial stage, and managing gratuities and post-retirement can be challenging. Now, this phase is a time when one can finally relax and enjoy the fruits of their labor after years of hard work. However, retirees often face the challenge of managing their gratuities, which can be a daunting task if not handled carefully. It is therefore important for retirees to seek the advice of financial experts to help them make informed decisions about their retirement and investment plans. In Nigeria, there are various retirement plans available to retirees, such as the Contributory Pension Scheme, the Defined Benefit Scheme, and the Retirement Savings Account. Business and management consultant Eugenia Ndukwe joins us now to discuss retirees and their retirement plans, as well as how to manage their gratuities and post-retirement investment. Good afternoon, Eugenia. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go straight into it. We only have a few minutes left.
Afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Now, what is the motivation for your intervention in the retirees training?
Oh, well, thank you very much, Shay. Of course, like we all know, most times the basic challenges that we face as management consultants and retirement plan experts from government workers is they felt they could rely on us, have confidence in us to talk about their fears and their anxieties. So being a management consultant, I have had an opportunity of meeting a lot of government employees who come with concerns. And over time, I began to document these concerns. And in fact, that further strengthened or aroused my interest to think about how best to help them manage these anxieties. So that actually prompted the need or the desire to begin to plan for them.
Duly noted. Thank you, Eugenia. Now, when it comes to post-retirement investment, we have seen cases whereby retirees are often targeted, by illegitimate organizations or associations, probably because they are deemed to be quite vulnerable. So how do retirees discern between what's authentic and what's not?
Well, first of all, the basic or the elementary advice I give to every retiree is to be very intentional about their choices and their decision when it comes to investment. You cannot plan to put in all of your money when you don't have sufficient information and knowledge about your choices. So most times we realize that these retirees, all they know is I invest my money and I expect to have 100% in return. It doesn't work like that. You have to be very intentional about your choices. You have to be very intentional about your decision. You need to have enough or sufficient knowledge before you could engage or begin to think about venturing into any engagement after your service.
But what factors would you say are mitigating against retirees' ability to invest? Because we're seeing that it's becoming more and more rampant. What are the factors?
There are so many factors, a lot of factors. These factors the militating factors can come from their employers and as well from the retirees. Of course, I'm aware that most employers, especially for those working for the government, have a lot of training programs that they engage into before they retire. But again, we also observe that most of them have very poor attitude or they are not very receptive to this training. Oftentimes, their mindset tends to fall around just their, what would I call that? The benefit that comes, the immediate benefit that comes from the training, not really because the training is going to help them make their decision. So it's actually a two-way challenge. If the government is making a lot of effort to help them by giving them pre-retirement training, to help them adequately prepare for the retirement, the next thing is the person who is being trained, how receptive is he or she to those initiatives? And how well is this initiative going to be impactful to them at retirement. So these two factors, of course, is a major challenge. The second one I also look at is when it comes to the funds available for them. What the government or what employers are making available for people who have spent a minimum of 30 years of their active life in service is honestly insufficient to help them live a sustainable life at retirement. And when you look at global records, Nigeria tends to be the lowest pension package for retirees. So there's a need for the government to also begin to be intentional about the plans that they make for these retirees. And aside that, I strongly suggest that financial institutions like the bank need to collaborate with the government so that funds are made available for retirees who have sustainable or quite innovative ideas to assess from the pool of this, from the pool, the fund sources, and to be able to help them to finance their business idea.
Those are very insightful points, Eugenia. But, in the interim, I'm really curious to know what advice you might have for retirees when it comes to managing, their gratuities based on the exponentially increasing cost of living.
No matter the amount available, it will never be sufficient. And what the government is making, the provision the government is making, is also not sufficient. This, from their personal savings allowances, it is also not sufficient. That is why I feel that every player, when it comes to retirement, both the employer and the employee must be very deliberate about making sufficient plan for the welfare packages that their employees or the retirees will fall back on at retirement. But if I must answer your question directly, what is most important is that these retirees expose themselves to sufficient knowledge that would help them make informed decisions. It is not just about sitting back and thinking because I have a friend or a family relation who is a farmer and he is doing so well, so it is sufficient for me to also retire and take up everything I have saved and everything the government have prepared for me and go into farming. Employers in Nigeria, especially for government employers, are administrative machineries that the government is using to bring down their policies to the people. They are not businessmen. And at the time they retire, the only options available for them is to go into business, to be entrepreneurs. And then we feel that the 2 or 3 trainings they have undergone before their retirement is sufficient to prepare them to go into business fully. Then we are all joking. My advice is for intending retirees to be quite intentional. First of all, of course, try to fill the knowledge gap based on the fact that trainings are made available. Explore opportunities for counseling and interest identification, whereby you can fill in the gap between what you want and the knowledge available for you. And again, I also advocate for mentorship program, or what you can as well refer as senior internship. If I am interested in going into the hospitality industry, before my retirement, I should have an opportunity of undergoing 3 to 6 months internship with a hospitality company to be able to have me understand the internal operations of the hospitality company, after which I can now decide if it is right for me to venture or to invest into this business after retirement. So it must be a very, very deliberate activity, and the decisions and our choices must be well informed.
Very well said. Intentionality is definitely the word of the day based on what you've told us, and we appreciate your time here on Newsday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Business and management consultant Eugenia Ndukwe, thank you for your time.